Hello and very warm welcome everyone. It's Marta here, and in today's video I will share with you this beautiful shabby chic style card, and I will also share with you what to do on the inside portion of the card as well, how to dress up the inside. So if this is something interesting to you, please stay tuned and I will share that one with you as well. Now I'm starting off from choosing the papers, and I absolutely love this vintage patchwork collection. Here you can see the paper pad. There's so many different designs, and I absolutely love the colors, the texture. There's like a old paintings look as well. And as soon as I noticed this clock, I thought like, oh, this is something I want to use as the focal point on my card. The card I'm creating, it's gonna be A5 size card. It's gonna be slightly larger, but I'm gonna give it in person, so I'm not really limited by any size or dimension, or I could put so many different layers and embellishment as I want to. Now, what I like to do for my cards, and once I want to give them a little bit more vintagey style and look, I like to distress all of my edges. And here I've put the pencil mark on the card and I couldn't find it. As soon as I just marked myself where to cut it and I put this paper on the guillotine, I was like, oh, where is this little mark? But anyway, to give this additional interest to the elements, what I like to do, I just like to grab my scissors and go over the edges. And once I distress my edges, I'm using my fingernails to gently lift up the all four edges of the card. And that way it will give me lot more dimension and also this additional interest. And to make it appear even more special and more dimensional, I'm grabbing additional piece of the pearl color cardstock. You can see here, this is like very pale pink color card, and it's very nice shiny paper. And I will cut slightly larger mat to go underneath this panel, and then I will do exactly the same distressing as on the design paper. However, before I will do that, I just want to cut another circle, which is going to be exactly the same size as the clock. So I could do exactly the same thing with my focal point as well as on my front panel. And one more thing I wish to say to you, my friends, if you are using mats underneath your layers and you are using some sort of a specialty paper, pearl paper, or like design paper as well, or even like a white cardstock, it's always a good idea to cut something from this panel here, because it's not gonna be visible. So you can actually save up a lot of your paper by stretching it this way. And also another advantage of doing this step is that if you're creating the card which are going through the mail, by chopping this extra stuff away from your card, from your mat underneath your layers, that way you're kind of saving up on the weight of the card as well. So here I am just trimming this clock teeny tiny bit, like 1 millimeter away. I don't even have the die. Like I do have the nesting dies, but I think the spaces in between them are way too large. I know that Hero Arts are having those infinity dies with the very thin layers, but I don't think they are large enough what I'm needing. Besides, I don't have the set, but because I am distressing the edges, it doesn't really matter. I just trim that 1 millimeter on the clock all around it, and that way I've gained that extra layer. So again, this is another idea for stretching up your dies. Just cut two of the same and gently trim around the edge, and you will get additional nesting layer to your element. And because we are distressing the edges with scissors, it doesn't really matter if it's like super clean cut, because it's not gonna be visible. But having this additional layer, I think, is just making all this focal element pop out even more, because you have the separation layer in between the design paper and the clock itself. And I'm going for a shabby chic, and of course I had to use some sort of the lace. I found this beautiful white trim, and then I have this pink lacy ribbon as well. And it's not going to be visible very much because the clock itself is quite large. And for that, for a minute I was thinking like, I wish I actually create the 8 by 8 size card, but I still like it even though it's not much visible. You can see the lace coming out from underneath the clock anyway, and that's just giving that extra additional interest to the card. Plus I want my card to be looking very special and luxurious, and there's always a good idea for reaching out for some ribbons, for some additional elements to embellish the card, because that way I think it will appear way more luxurious. So here you can see the clock, and then I'm just I did exactly the same thing on both panel and the clock, and raising the edges. Even though I'm not adding any like a foam tape in between the layers, they are still appearing way more dimensional than they would be just cut flat and left on its own, like they would be just cut. Now the center of this clock, it has this little kind of like a brad looking element, and I thought like, let me see if I could actually use the brad, and this little metal embellishment in the center of the clock, it also making bring it to life, I would say. So again, this is another idea for you if you've got any design with the clock, having something like specialty button or brad in the center, that will give you way more interest to the card. Now here is my little secret sauce. Well, I'm not gonna say it's a secret sauce because I've been revealing it many times, but what I like to do with my leaves to give them kind of a specialty look is that I usually cut them from the design paper. Here I use the plain color cardstock, but either way, what I like to do, I like to stamp them with some text stamp. And there is this beautiful diamond shape stamp from Funky Fossil. This is from the latest release from the signature wallet, which I don't think is available. The collection was so popular that it's almost instantly sold out, this wallet, but the paper pad and another stamp set I'm using today in today's video, they are still available if anyone is interested in them. So here I've embossed the leaves with the gold powder, and now I am going over the edges with a little bit of the distress ink, and I think that a little bit of the dark edges on the leaves, it's also adding them extra depth, so they appear way more dimensional. And I know it may seem like a lot of the steps, but I do encourage you to go that this is not taking a lot of time. It's usually 1 or 2 minutes extra added, but the in overall look, once you look on the card at the end, there will be some close-up look for us, and those little extra tiny steps, this is what makes them look way more special. And here it's something I am just absolutely fall in love. This is my new revolutionary, like, finding. I love this stellar paste. I usually, whenever I want to add some gold color to my edges, I would go with the embossing powder. However, this is a game changer. I absolutely love these stellar paste. They are also coming in so many different colors as well, but I have this champagne on ice, which is this gold color, lovely, beautiful, shimmery paste. What I like with this paste is that I can add it to my foam flowers, and this is something which I couldn't do with the embossing powder, because as much as I could melt it around my edges and create this gold trim, this is something I can't do with my foam flowers, because the heat from the heat tool, once I would be try to set the powder, it would just melt the foam on the flowers and disfigure it. So to say that I'm absolutely in love with stellar paste, and this is my go-to, and I think it's even way easier to use it on the edges of the cardstock, because I don't have to heat set the powder. And sometimes when you heat the layers and you've got like matte and layers stick together, they could curl up and become wonky. So for that, this is my new to-go solution for adding this gold trim all around my edges. Now I'm gonna be using the Sentiment as well, and this has come from the Funky Fossil Love Etc. stamp set. And of course I use the gold embossing powder, and for the stamp sets like that I like to fussy cut them. I know there's many of the word sentiments with the matching dies, but it's very easy to do it with the scissors as well. And if you have like a scan and cut machine, for example, I have my brother's scan and cut machine, I sometimes stamp and I send it through the machine to fussy cut it for me if I would like to appear it like I used the die. However, here I fussy cut it with the scissors, and I also distressed the edge because I wanted to have the same ruffle edge on all my elements. Now I was planning to create the same border around using the same pink color cardstock. However, I forgot to cut it from another layer, the one which was underneath, and I didn't want to start another panel. Once I cut my pink color cardstock in half, I have perfectly A5 size panel left, so I didn't want to cut it just to use it for my sentiment. So I found very similar piece and I just recut it from this. The layer around the sentiment is like 1 millimeter thick, so it's not going to be really as much visible, that it's slightly different shade. And here you can see this beautiful clock and sentiment. I think it's looking good as it is, just the sentiment, the clock and the panel. So if I would be creating the card for the envelope, I would just leave it like that. And here to make it all matching, I'm also adding this little bit of the stellar paste around the sentiment as well. So here I am adding the clock with the layer of the hot glue, and I will be adding the composition of the flowers. And these are my own foam flowers. So whoever is new on my channel, I'm also having the playlist with the handmade flowers. So if you'd like to see how they were created, you can check one of the videos on flower making. So here I am building up the composition, and I'm adding a little bit of the glue to the leaves, and I'm just trying to play and see which one are looking well and where. And because they are so much dressed up with this gold, a tiny bit of the stellar paste, embossing powder, distressing, there's so much different things on those leaves. I think they're just giving this nice interesting vibe, and they just give that shabby chic style to the card as well. So here I am just tearing the leaves, which I think like, oh, this is too long. Don't you be scared to do that. Always experiment. If you think like, oh, my leaf is too large, just tear it in half, and no one will see it that it's tear underneath. But that way you have this differentiation in your design, that even though you're using the same die, you've got like one die or one punch for leaves, you can actually achieve different looks and different sizes by just tearing off the portion which will go underneath. I'm adding a teeny tiny bit of the foam tape underneath my sentiment just to slightly raise it up, and the front panel is almost finished. I'm gonna be embellishing it a little bit more because I want to appear it a little bit more special. And for that, of course, one more thing which I always feel like I have to add is this little ribbon string. So what I'm gonna do, I will just gently like tie double bow. Well, I'm not actually tying it, I'm just folding the string in my hand, and then I'm just adding a teeny tiny dot of the glue in the center to hold it together. So I've decided to add the string of the on the left side on the sentiment. I think it's just giving this nice extra texture. And then what I found in my drawer was these artificial white berries, and these are super shiny, sparkly. So I think they kind of like they would be covered in this iridescent glitter. So I think they will be looking really nice with this gold finishing from the stellar paste. So to finish off this composition and to give it even more special look, I've decided to add a couple of those berries in between the flowers. Let me know what you think, if you like to add this kind of embellishments as well, and what else you like to use on your as your embellishment. I want to know. Let me know in the description, like in the comment, what you are actually using, what's your favorite way to embellish your cards as well. So here, couple of the berries here and there, and I think they are just filling up this really nice rich composition, and it's just something special, so something unusual, and it's just this nice extra texture to the card. So here my last berry, and now I'm gonna be working on the inside part of the card, because of course such a beautiful card, it also need to have some kind of a specialty finish on the card. So here I'm gonna be using this pink color paper, which was left over from the front panel, and I am just cutting it out just to the size. And again, I'm gonna be repeating the steps, because what I think it's bringing this nice vibe when you have the elements from the outside of your card bring into the inside. This is creating this nice cohesive look on the card, so all layers are looking similar. Here I went to my drawer, and I have this paper which I was using for something else. I was actually stamping some butterflies, but this is the watercolor paper, so it has the texture on the other side of the paper. It had the little texture, and I wasn't happy with the results. So I'm never throwing anything away, and I knew that one day it will be a time for using up this paper. So today is the day, so no one will see something else was, you know, stamped underneath, and I've just use it up that way. So here you could see that I had a couple of the silver butterflies, and because the watercolor texture paper wasn't giving me a good impression on the stamp, I just thought like, okay, I'll switch the paper and I'm gonna use it on another day. So here back again, I am adding this texture to the edges with the scissors, and it's very, how to say that, this is also another way to add the thickness to your card. I'm not sure if I mentioned that at the beginning, but if you're working on a thinner paper and you would like it to appear more thicker, adding the distress to the edges will also help you out in that. So here I'm also having this another piece of the design paper, and this is the leftover piece from my other video, which you could see this shadow box I was creating. And I've kept this paper because I knew I'm gonna be using this piece somewhere else. I was actually planning to create the card of it, but here I had this idea, let me just create the gift pocket. And this is the simplest gift pocket you can ever create, because all you really need is just a piece of the cardstock, and you basically tear off one side and create this kind of like triangle look. I'm adding the glue to two sides, you can see here, to the corner, and then I will adhere it to the bottom part of my card. That way I will have the space to write down the wishes, like, you know, happy birthday or something, and then have the space for the gift card. And what I really like about this card, it says every day is a gift on the front panel, and then it says collect beautiful moments on the inside. And imagine yourself, you're giving someone like a gift card or like a movie ticket or some other tickets to go somewhere to visit some places. So they will have that perfect opportunity to create that beautiful moment. And then we've got the pocket for a gift. And I think this card is super, nice, thoughtful gift you can give to someone. And again, something which I've already mentioned, I like to bring the outside design of the card onto the inside. So because I have those golden edges, like I use the stellar paste to go around the edges of my card on the outside, I'm doing exactly the same step on the inside. And once you open up the card, it's just gonna be giving you this beautiful, nice look. The only one trouble in creating the inside layer is that you will have to give it a few minutes to dry, but nothing harming here. I actually started using this drying time to clean up a little bit in my craft room. So once the stellar paste was dry, I come back and I've adhered the inside panel into my card. So that will be my card for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and all the tips. Let me know if you like it, if you would like to see more cards with the finishing inside portion as well. And of course, as always, please don't forget to give a like, to subscribe to my channel, to click the share button. This is something which helps me out to keep my channel going and growing. And if any one of you will be creating something based upon my own tutorial, on my own inspiration, please share it. There is a Facebook group where you can post your creation. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I'm wishing you all a fabulous day. Stay blessed and bye-bye.